You were sentenced in Iberville Parish in October of 2008 for incest, and I have 4 different counts of incest. Parole eligibility date was April 11th, 2017. You don't earn good time, so your full term date is October 24th, 2035. Is that information correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and you were seen back in 2020 by a parole panel. You were denied. There was law enforcement opposition and victim opposition at that time. That was the reason stated on the decision form, at least. And that has not changed. That remains, and we'll hear from those folks shortly. I will note for the record, at the time of that hearing, your risk assessment score showed up as being moderate, and now you score out as low. So that's different. So you tell us what else is different about you since your last hearing.
Since my last hearing, ma'am, I've taken classes that have helped me greatly, especially victim impact, thinking for a change. Very classes that I've taken now. Also, risk management. That helped me a great deal, because when I took risk management, and especially victim impact, they let me know that things I did were very thorough, and it helped me understand. In fact, in victim impact, it was class number 11. The teacher, she was reliving the experience that happened to her, and it really touched real hard. It really did.
So prior to taking that class, and by risk management, I'm assuming you're talking about sex offender treatment?
Yes, ma'am. That's
okay.
what.
And so prior to that, you didn't have a real good sense that what why you're in jail was terribly wrong?
Yes, ma'am, I did. But I seen the impact that it left on the victim more. That's what I thought. Because here her cousin died at 8 years old. And she's about 12, and the teacher was 37 years old. I said, Lord, this lasts this long? And it does. And then I seen other people that had other problems too. And I say, I did have an understanding about how people would hurt, but not the full impact. Now it's hitting home. My daughter's still angry at me, and it's hurt because I shouldn't have done it. It was terrible.
Okay, well, let's talk about it. What'd you do?
I had sex with my daughter. That's what I did. That's exactly what I did.
Over how long of a period of time did that happen?
Well, that would happen over 18 years, really, to tell the truth about it.
And so it started when she was how old?
About 18.
She was how old?
She was about 18.
When you started the behavior?
I know the crime says 4 times, but it's more than that.
Well, my information shows Veronica, at least, started when she was very young.
Oh, that's when that's when I was going into a room. She was talking about the incest.
So how old was she when this started?
Well, it probably was about 8 years old, I think, if I remember straight.
You know.
No, yes, I do know, but I'm trying to remember. I'm still 70 years old. Sometimes I forget. Now, I'm not making excuses, man.
You don't forget that. So did you threaten her with the Bible if she told?
Well, yes, I did. Yes,
Why'd you do that?
Well, the reason I did what I was saying that is because not only was I messing up, she was doing some things. I said, baby, we can't do this. I even told her when I did do that when she was young, I stopped. I say, because it's not right. I say, I have to. I say, and God don't want us to live like this. But I told her. It wasn't really threatening.
Well, and then you kept on and on and on until she was an adult. You know, I'm just having a hard time wrapping my head around. So tell me what you learned from victim impact. You said you did that. What did you learn from that?
Well, when I did it, victim impact, like I say, ma'am, I learned that when I'm dealing with the things that I've done, how it destroyed my child. This was hurting after I started looking at really what I'd done. It messed me up, it really did. And I had to deal with this here. I can't run from it, I have to face it. I did this.
You just completed that program this year, right?
I completed that one, but that's not the only one I was, because that's the one that really hit hard. I'm telling you, it did.
Well, I'm glad to hear that it made an impression on you.
It hit hard. That hurt.
So out of that program, I would like for you to tell me what impact do you think your actions had on the two victims that we know about? Tell me what you think, how it affected their life.
It destroyed their life. It messed them up. In my statement, that's what I had, because when I had to look at what I did to them, I was selfish in what I did and wasn't worried about how it affected them. But then it destroyed their lives, because my daughter don't even want me to come around, and that's kind of rough. At first, when I first got married, I thought I wanted to be the great dad. I missed that. I blew that up. And the thing that I also saw, I broke a confidence that should have never been broken. And I learned that when a school in Shreveport was having problems with kids going to class, guns in school, and all they had to do was bring the dads in. And when they brought the dads in, everything stopped. The kids started going to school. I started looking at this. I said, man, I broke a confidence that only God can give to a father. I broke that. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, Mr. Pryor, so what have you done within your own community to give back? What kind of community service have you done?
Oh, here at our LCC, I'm still living in Cajun 3. And I've been living there for 15 years. Now, that might not sound important, but that's what they call the open cell block. And I stay down there on purpose for ministry. I preach on the yard down there, and I tell people, and I deal with these young men, older ones too, that we can't keep doing what we've been doing. We have to make some serious changes. I preached on the yard. During the pandemic, we never missed a service. We preached on the yard, the gospel of Jesus Christ and him crucified. Yes, I made mistakes. I did do that. And it was some serious ones. But I ain't doing that no more. There's no way in the way I could do this again, because I hurt my own
All right,
child.
let's move on. Let's move on, Mr. Pryor. Warden, is there anything you can add?
Yes, ma'am, Mr. Renas. First and foremost, just let me extend my deepest sympathies to the victim and that I admire their courage to be here today, as always. And I hope they take into consideration that I speak only for what Edward has done here. I don't speak on his crime. As far as what he has done here, he's taken everything we've asked of him. He's taken sex offender treatment. He's taken victim impact. He's taken a lot of classes. He's a chaplain's assistant. He does stay down there in that housing he's talking about and minister to the younger offenders and even the older ones. He tries to do a lot. He's a model inmate here. He has not had a write-up in over 13 years. So that's what I can say about him here.
Good. We appreciate your input as always. Mr. Roche?
Good morning, Mr. Pryor.
Good morning.
Mr. Pryor, according to your records, you completed sex offender treatment on October 2011. Is that correct?
I think, yes, sir.
So that's 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that course has been updated many times since that. Am I right, Warden?
Yes, sir, it has been.
Because they didn't have 3 or 4 phases back in 2011. For me to vote for you, Mr. Pryor, I want to tell you right now, you need to retake the current version of
Okay.
sex offender treatment. All 4 phases, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4 is the most important phase as I'm concerned, because you act as a facilitator. You get to regurgitate all the information you learned in the first 3 phases.
Yes, sir.
So for me to vote for you, you must complete sex offender treatment again.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Richard. All right.
Mr. Pryor, good morning.
Good
The
morning.
record shows your marital status as married. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, I am married, but my wife died
Oh, I'm sorry for hearing your loss. When did she pass?
in 2015.
2015. Sorry for your loss. And it also indicates that you're the father of 5 children. So we know about your 2 daughters. What's your relationship with your other 3 children?
Well, my baby boy died last.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I had to deal with that too.
Yes, yes.
And my other 2 sons, they kind of angry at me because I tried to explain something to them about their mama's life, and I shouldn't have done that because they didn't take it too well. I love my wife a great deal. When I married her, she's very beautiful, but she didn't have she wasn't a total wife, if I can say that, because sexual orientations was different from mine. I wanted a heterosexual, and she had homosexual type tendencies to herself. And I didn't want it. And I tried to explain that to my children. That's why I started messing up. I can't make no excuses.
That's not some information we need to know. We don't want to know. Thank you.
But I do have one other question, sir. Sir, were you touched as a child inappropriately as a child?
No.
Okay,
Well, my brother said I was, but I don't remember.
okay, okay. Are you with your brother is older or younger?
He's older than me.
Older, okay. All right, that's all I had, Madam Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, we'd like to hear from the folks who are here with us. Who would like to go first? Just state your name for us, please.
My name is Veronica Pryor Fashion.
Okay, what would you like us to know?
Well, first I'm gonna start off with the last thing that you asked him. My uncle, his oldest brother, explained an instance, I don't know how many instances, of a male cousin that used to watch them that did molest him. My birth father has never acknowledged that. You cannot heal unless you acknowledge the trauma that you've been through. I know, because I'm the daughter that he touched the longest. I stayed there the longest. I'm the oldest. And he said he does not remember when it started. I remember. I remember because it was when my baby sister was born. He was also on here. I was 5, far as I can remember. Because when she was born, I remember him telling me, you do not want me to leave your mom or hurt your little sister, do you? So you're gonna allow me to do this, or this is what's going to happen. I'm 5. I've stated this story numerous times. Now I'm gonna bring it forward. He said he did the victim's impact. Let me tell him how far it has gone since he's done that. Because his grandchildren, my children, have an 18-year-old that became a cutter because he watched his grandmother, my mom, who he's talking about, who had homosexual tendencies, the same one that he made watch when he raped me in front of her. He did that. I don't talk out of anger. I talk out of disgust because the same way that I chose to change my life, he had that same opportunity. And because of his decisions, not only have I been impacted, not only has my husband been impacted, not only has my sister, my brothers, my baby brother who just passed, I worked my hardest modeling for him about getting therapy and going through, not going through the trauma. He chose not to talk. My baby brother at 36 had an aneurysm. He used to play semi-pro ball. Because of his mental capacity, his whole body shut down, just like my mother, who passed on March 23rd, 2015, because I was there when she took her last breath. She chose to stop eating because she said I did nothing to protect y'all against him because I was scared. I'm not scared. In fact, I utilize the same trauma that I've been through to support children on a daily basis in the East Baton Rouge Parish School System as a social emotional learning specialist. I chose, in spite of my trauma, to go back to school after going through being an auditor for over 30 years to become a therapist. That's a choice. I'm not going to utilize the things that I've been through as an excuse to hurt anyone else. My children see that you can grow through anything. Yes, they have problems. Every last one of my children have problems. My sons, they can't stand a grandfather that they never met. I just dropped my son yesterday from school, the oldest one, because he started sitting in class. I said, DJ, are you okay? Yes, ma'am, no, you're not. I'm watching him. And they were up there, it was like, Mama, we don't want him nowhere around us. We don't even want him in this state because he done tore up our family. I said, he tore up that, but you have a choice to grow from that. My brothers are sick to their stomach because of the things that he's done. Because my oldest brother would listen to him about how you're supposed to raise a wife, how you're supposed to be with your daughters. And then when he finds out what he's been doing with his daughters, he was hurt. My little brother, he almost lost his leg because of him beating him when he went to my uncle trying to tell him about the stuff we was going through.
Yes, ma'am. Can you wrap it up for us, please?
So just to let you know, of course you can hear that I do not feel that he's ready to get out. And the last reason why is because you wrote a letter right after my baby brother. My husband read the letter. I watched his facial expression. For you to say that you would love me more than you ever loved my mom, this was just last year. Was you ready to come out? I don't think so.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. We appreciate you being here. And then that was what you. And we have Mr. Trina that's by Zoom. Do you want to make a statement?
Good morning, first off.
Good morning.
My sister said a mouthful, but just to piggyback off of what she was saying about the last letter that he has written. No, I don't think he's ready. Mentally, he's not ready to come out because of that letter he has written. Yes, you can take those courses, but as we were taught, when you know better, you do better. So as far as that, no, I don't think he's ready mentally to come out. He has to deal with, again, to piggyback off what she said, he has to deal with what he went through. Because I remember we tried to get help. We tried to get family counseling together. We met up at my sister's house before he was even before he even went to jail, but he said he didn't need help. It was just the manipulation, the bigotiness, the attitude that he felt like he did not need help. And he does need help. He does.
Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate your remarks. Mr. Sassy, can we hear from the DA's office?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having us in. I, along with our victim assistance coordinator, Lori White, we have reviewed our file and we see that the original charge was numerous counts over a period of years. The defendant, Mr. Pryor, chose to plead guilty to a charge which he received a 30-year sentence. That sentence was contemplated by the victims in this matter and the family members, contemplated in knowing that they could appear at this board and discuss their position on this and to ask that this board consider a denial in this case. all that was contemplated in our notes. We even say that we spoke to our victim and we discussed that she would have the right to come to this board and ask you guys to deny his early release. And that's what we're doing here today. We're standing up for our victim and for what she went through. And yes, we chose, along with her, after contemplation, a 30-year sentence to avoid the trial, which I'm sure was just horrific for any victim to think that she had to go to the stand and testify as to what was done to her for so many years. And the family members stood with her, and we agreed with that 30-year sentence. And we're asking this board to stand with her and deny any early release on this matter. And yes, I am encouraged by his admissions, and I'm encouraged by his efforts. But those efforts need to be done and continue to do until he's done his sentence that was handed down by our court in a plea agreement. I too was troubled by the letter and the wording in the letter, and I'm not sure if the board has it. I've actually asked for our sex offender coordinator for Iberville to be here to listen to this meeting, because this behavior will result in his rearrest if he does get out one day and continues that line of letter writing or that try to approach to a victim. So we would caution him to discontinue that effort and continue his efforts to better himself through the programs that DOC allows. But we will continue to show up here with our victim and ask the board to deny his early release. He's lucky to have received a release date and not a life sentence where he would have died in prison. And we join with our victim and ask that you guys deny any early release. And I'd like to also say, Mr. Roche, it's good to see you here. I don't know if everybody knows the history of how many lawyers went through Southern University, like myself, that have gained an appreciation for the law library and the process. So Lori and myself, it's good to see you, and we look forward to see you guys on new occasions. Thank you.
Good, and we appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. We appreciate your remarks and your input. It's always important. Okay, Mr. Pryor, is there a statement you'd like to make to the board? Address any comments to the board, if you have any.
Yes, ma'am. I would like to thank the parole board for this opportunity for their rehearing. I want to say to this committee that the court did give me the time to serve until then, with opportunity to go for a parole after so many years. I knew I wasn't spiritually nor mentally ready. I knew then. And even at the first or the second hearing, I knew that I needed some more help. And I wanted to, that's why I stayed that's why I state that I took more classes, because I did needed help. I took all the classes that DOC required of me. Now, it was stated again, I'm gonna go back and get in classes again with the sex offender class. Even if I'm turned down, I'm going back to that. And because I did do a lot of damage in my lifetime to my family, I tore it up. I understand that. Not only my family, I did it to my church and my community. I tore that up, and I caused a lot of victims, a lot of hardship. It was a very selfish act on my part. I realized that. And to this, I say I'm deeply sorry to my family and everyone else that I hurt because of my actions. And I want to apologize to the state and the parish that I'm from, because they have cost them a lot of time and hurt and pain, and they had to make a lot of expenses on my part. But I do apologize to them, but I do thank them because it did help me to get back on the right path. I know people don't think I damn on it, but I am. The last thing I want to say is that, yes, I am doing a lot of work around. because I did realize that people shouldn't be thrown away. That's why I work in Cajun dress. We have to work hard because we can't be thrown away. And that's why I work with young people and work with old too. And I'm a minister too, and I still preach. And I preach in the chapel. And I preach my sermons to the congregation. And it's not easy winning the respect of people around you, especially with the charge I have. But I won it because of the life that I live now. I can't wait to get on the street to live this life. I had to start that here. And that's what I did, making sure that I lived the life that was required, because hurting people is just not a good. I thank you very much for this opportunity.
All right, Mr. Pryor, thank you. And I'm pleased to hear that you are doing some community service work, trying to help those around you. And I know that it's not easy for somebody with your charge to be able to do good things. I know that. And so I want to commend you for that. I don't think you're there yet. I think you still got some work to do. It's very concerning to me about hearing about and reading about the letter as recently as a year ago. It tells me you still don't have a real clear understanding. And I do agree with what your daughter has said, that you need some help, maybe some counseling to deal with what happened to you as a child. I mean, I think with help, you can break those memories loose and deal with that. And that healing will go a long way. I agree with Mr. Roche too. I think maybe the new version of the sex offender treatment program would be also a benefit of you. So for those reasons, today, my vote today is to deny you parole.
Mhm.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mr. Pryor. First of all, I'm denying your request based on that you must complete the updated version of the sex offender treatment, all 4 phases. The victim of this crime is adamantly opposed. You have strong opposition from the DA's office in the 18th JDC, and you have very strong opposition from the legal community in the 18th JDC. Based on all of that, I'm denying your request, and you have a lot of work to do before I think you're ready to be released.
Thank you, Mr. Rush. Mrs. Wise. Ms. Veronica, living life in intentional purpose. You are doing that. I was glad to read that, and I put it in my notes. Living life in intentional purpose. You are truly a change agent. I just appreciate you today. Mr. Pryor, you are a classic sex offender. You are a textbook sex offender. You started when your wife had a child. You started messing with the daughter in the house. That's classic. You were violated as a child. Classic. Then you got wrapped up in the religion. And use it as a tool to manipulate and move. You are a classic textbook sex offender. And so please listen to what's been said today and really take advantage of it. My vote is denied as well for the reasons already stated on the record.
All right, Mr. Pryor, you got some more work to do. Good luck to you, sir. Today, your parole's been denied.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Let's not forget, it's not just that he's a sex offender. These are his daughters. You know, when you think that you've seen it all, when you think that, okay, now I have seen the worst, Louisiana shocks you again. We've covered, maybe we're closing on almost 1,000 hearings and hundreds of offenders and dozens who have done this to their own children, their own grandchildren. He takes it even a step further. he he drags through the mud his deceased wife at his parole hearing. He states that because of her sexual orientation, that led him down the path to do that to his daughters. You can't make it up. You probably wouldn't believe it unless you've seen it. You know, at first, Miss Renasa, I really liked the way she handled this hearing, except until she interrupted the survivor. That is not cool. That pisses me off. Don't interrupt her. She is giving one of the most moving, one of the most powerful, one of the most incredible speeches that we have ever heard on all of our hearings. And we have heard some good ones, but this was there. And Miss Renata said, cut her off. I just don't get it. Come on. Let her speak. Let her speak. She had a message to tell. And I want to take her battle cry and remember it and repeat it. I don't talk out of anger. I talk out of disgust. That resonated with me. I'm not angry when I go on my little rants. I'm disgusted. I'm shocked. I'm surprised. I'm dumbfounded. How is it that the system keeps giving out these little sentences? How is it that the system gives low risk scores for these offenders? How is it that the system allows this to happen again and again and again and again? I'm not angry. I'm disgusted. In this case, at least we see that the DA shows up. We see survivors stand up. At the beginning of Miss Renata's hearing, I mean, she was doing it so well. You could hear the disgust in her voice. She was, not buying any, not taking it, not pretending to intake his lies and his gibberish. She was like, no, she was much younger. He's like, I don't know. You know how old she was. And even then he still lied. The survivor has to come and say, no, I wasn't 8. I was 5. You hear his manipulation through the hearing. He starts by, the classics manipulation where he starts saying at age 18. Are you kidding me? From age 18 to age 5, that's where we went in this parole hearing. His kids, his sons don't talk to him anymore. His sons don't talk to him anymore because he tried to explain something to them and they got mad. Tried to explain that their mother, who's now dead, because she, you just can't make it up. There's nothing more sick than what we just saw. I don't mean to have the DA's face up there. He's told her when she's a 5. Picture a 5-year-old. I have 3 children under the age of 9. You look at a child and you say, you do not want me to hurt your mother or your little sister who was just born. So you have to let me to continue to do this. As Miss Y said, and again, I'll start with, when she said, I'm so sorry, she must have said it 4 times. I'm so sorry to hear that about your wife passing away. And it's like, come on. Like, what planet are you on? Don't you see where this is going? Don't you see? Do you not read your notes? Like, you think that he deserves an apology about his wife dying? But at least maybe she felt that she messed up and she wrapped it up. You're a textbook sex offender. You're a textbook sex offender. You violate your own children. Well, she says you were violated as a child, and I don't know enough about that. I know plenty of people who were violated as children, and they've never hurt any other child. I don't know what percentage have been violated, but we'll move on from that. Wrapped up in religion. That is something that we see all the time. He used religion as fair against her, and he's using religion now as manipulation to try to get out of prison. And that is something that we've seen over and over again. But do I love that survivor? I'm not scared. I utilize my trauma to help children. She went to school and became a therapist and is helping children. I want to hug that woman. And Miss Renata said, wrap it up. It is scary to think that one day he can get out because he doesn't have a life sentence. Now they agreed on a 30-year deal. He's got to do all his time. But it is terrifying to think that one day he will get out. And as of today, let's confirm that date again. He's 70. But there we go. When you think you've seen it all, you see something else.
All right, is this Mr. Price? Mr. Price, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and your DOC number.
Name is Patrick Price, ma'am. My DOC number is 597-163, ma'am.
You remember me and Mr. Roche?
So, ma'am, I remember I went up there and David Wade in 2014, but I don't really remember, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Well, let me read some information into the record and then we'll get started on the process. I'll read some identifying information, ask you to confirm it, and then I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Wise. Your case has been assigned to her. She'll start the interview with you. We do have some folks who are here in support on Zoom, Dana Price and Miss Diane Price, and both of them will be speaking on your behalf at the appropriate time.
Yes.
Price, you're classified as a 4th felony offender. You're currently serving a 20-year sentence as a habitual offender out of Lafourche Parish, simple burglary and unauthorized entry of an inhabited dwelling. Parole eligibility was November 16, 2022, and your good time date is March 21st, 2037. Does all that sound correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you answer Mrs. Wise, please? How's it going?
How you doing, ma'am? I'm doing good.
Thanks for asking. How are you doing?
Bless, ma'am. Bless.
All right. The record shows that you're a 4th offender. The information we got from the DA's office, they maintain that you're more like a 6th felony offender. What do you say?
I had some charges that was ran together. I don't know how many felonies I am. I think it's
So what do you think? If you're offender class, what would you say it is?
maybe 5 or 6.
Okay, all right. I just wondered, call out for the record, how long you been in jail this time on this sentence?
This time right here, ma'am, it's like 5 years and 10 months, I want to say.
5 years and 10 months.
Yeah, it's almost 6 years.
Almost
November.
6 years. Okay, almost 6 years on this one. And how long you serving again? Call out for the record.
20 years, ma'am.
20 years. You've done 5 years on 20 years. How old are you today?
I just made 40, ma'am.
Just made 40. And how much of your life you spent in jail?
I've been in and out as a youngster.
Yep, juvenile record, yep.
Yes, ma'am. And this time right here, when I went home, and from 14, I think I might have stayed out there maybe 3 or 4 years at the most.
Okay, yeah, 14, yeah, let's see. So what's it gonna take?
I got a drug problem, ma'am. Bad drug problem. And I also was grieving too because I had lost my grandmother on my last dose. And I know it's not no excuse, but I didn't know how to deal with grief.
I'm just glad you got an answer. You got some awareness of what's going on with you. You know you need grief counseling and you know you need substance abuse counseling. That's good. That's good to know. What you thinking? I see what the record says. I just wanted to know what you think.
Yes, ma'am. I do need help. And since I got to see, I have learned a lot, you know what I'm saying? And I got to get in classes and really learn how to deal with my problems, you know what I'm saying? Instead of running from them and thinking that drugs is gonna heal my problem, and drugs don't heal the problem. Drugs only make the situation worse, man.
Now, when you got out in 18, you had a lot of programs, DOC programs then. How long would you say you stayed clean?
Ma'am, I only did those classes just to get out there, ma'am. I ain't gonna lie to you. I did them just to get out there. This time right here, I did the classes to better myself. I see.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. And you are a Strive member now, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. I'm a Strive and trustee.
Strive. How long you been a trustee?
I'm a trustee. Been a trustee maybe for 3 months. About 3 months.
And now, when was your last write-up this time?
My last write-up was it was April 3rd, 2000.
22?
22, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
It was a fight.
Yes, ma'am.
What happened?
Well, I was basically wrong, ma'am. I was wrong, and that's what it was. It was a misunderstanding, and I took it, and I did something that I have no business doing, and I blew the handle. It was my fault.
Okay, all right. And I did see that your birthday was 9/3. Happy belated birthday to you, sir. I did. I'm sorry. I usually catch that, and I didn't know you. I do want to state for the record that all law enforcement is opposed to your early release. And when I look at your supervision history, I term it as poor. What would you say about your supervision history?
Like going to see my parole officer, you saying?
Yes, period. How did you do when you were on supervision?
Ma'am, I had a drug problem.
Okay.
So
we can agree on that. It was poor. Now, let me get this out. Let me ask you this. Now, although you got a drug problem, you still had a lot of crimes against the person, and that's kind of concerning for me. What was all this violence about? You had some battery on the police officer. You had, I think one of them was a state trooper in 2001. What's it all about?
Drug related, man. That's all I can say. I got a long history of drugs, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. Most definitely do.
When did you start using drugs?
I started using drugs when I was like about 17 years old, man.
Okay, age 17. And okay. And you, like I said, you had all the programs the last time when you got out.
Yeah.
Have you putting in to go to Steve Home? Have you asked to get moved to Steve Home?
Man, but I most definitely was about to ask you before this was over with about that.
Okay, but you haven't made a request, you haven't put in an inmate request for it.
No, ma'am.
Why not?
Because I had talked to Warren Myers yesterday, and he said he was gonna get me into the substance abuse, so I just talked to the
I'm talking about the whole 5 years, you never asked, that's what I was getting at. Since you've been down 5 years, you said on this, you never made a request, that's what I was asking. When you said drugs, you know.
yeah, I just got to a prison where I can actually go to different classes, so I really didn't know that I can put in and request to go to Steve Hall. I didn't know
Oh,
that.
okay. Oh, okay, good. I'm glad you cleared that up for me. Okay. Warren, thank you for answering my question. Warren, what you want us to know about this young man?
Well, Ms. Wise, I believe we can ascertain that he has a drug problem. But I'm very glad to hear him say, and we had a long conversation yesterday. He does admit to it. He does realize this has been a huge part of his life and a huge part of his problem. So I did, I'm going to get him enrolled in our Living in Balance program as soon as possible. And he's currently enrolled in our GED program. I'd like to see him finish that, get his education. And as you alluded to with the crimes against other people, I'd like to see him take our victim impact program. So I think those three things would be very beneficial to him to help him stay out.
Yes, sir. All right, thank you. That's all I had, Madam Chairman.
All right, thank you. Can we hear from your mother, Mrs. Diane Price? You have to unmute your microphone.
Did he say me or my mom?
Your mother.
Your mother. Okay.
She was having difficulty knowing what it is, so just tell it's the microphone. It was like a microphone.
Can you unmute your phone? There's a little thing that looks like a microphone on it. Can you?
Okay, I have it, ma'am.
Go
This
ahead.
is Diane Price. My name is Diane Price, and I know Patrick Price is my son. Patrick Price is a wonderful child. He really is a wonderful man. I'm sorry, he went from Maine. He just fell short and following goals, not being a leader. He was trying to be a follower, but I think Patrick will be the best he can be right now because he have been there for 5 years, and I just hope and pray that y'all can hear my cry. My son have been in jail for a long, long time, and I think he have suffered enough, and we have suffered enough, for the crime he have done, because of the drugs. Since he say that, we have to tell the truth because it was the drugs. He would be on drugs and following other people, he would have been, better off. And he's my oldest son living right now, and I just hope and pray that y'all can just give him another chance. Just give him parole. He's a good, wonderful child. One man saying child because I call my children. I'm sorry, I had 12 children, and he's one of my best children. And I miss him very, very much. He's my carpenter. He used to do work for me. Like I do things at home. And I be sick, he used to cook for me, and I very, very, miss my son. I miss him very, very much, for 5 years, I have been trying to come see him sometime off and on. Sometimes my legs don't want to work. Sometimes I had a little stroke in last year. But just like I keep saying, he's very wonderful right now. I know he have learned his lesson, and I know he will be better, and we all miss him. And I just hope and pray y'all give him parole.
Yes, ma'am. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
We appreciate you joining us today. Could we
Yes,
hear
ma'am.
from Ms. Dana Price?
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Diane. I'm Patrick's sister. Dana was unavailable to join. Her kids got sick at school, so she gave me the Zoom number to see if I can participate.
Sure.
And speak
Go
on
ahead.
behalf. I'm sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Diane. I'm Patrick's sister. We're actually a year and a few days apart. Happy birthday, brother. My brother, he is a great person. He does have he did have drug issues. He and I didn't get along for the most part, but he's my brother and I love him. And I totally understand that you all have a job to do as his superiors, and he has a job to do as a member of society. But I just feel like if given another chance, and if he leaves out of the area he was already in Thibodeau, from around away from people that were feed into the negativity, he would do better. He is a great person. He's a great dad. He's an awesome brother. He's an awesome friend. And a lot of people love Patrick. But I do feel like Patrick needs to get his life back on track so that he can be productive in society. He's very smart when it comes to, like my mom said, carpentry and plumbing, electrician work, mechanic work. He doesn't use his abilities. He really doesn't. And I feel like he had enough time to think about the things that he's done to people and not for himself. And if given a chance to be back, in the population, he probably can do better. I mean, we all have to pay for the bad things we do in life. And I know he still has, a long road ahead. But I just feel like maybe if given a chance again, he can get it right for his kids, for my mom, because she's sick. My dad is sick. He has a family that really loves him out here. And if he moves out of that area and starts over, I feel like he can do a whole lot better for himself.
Ma'am, thank you for joining us in your sister's place. We appreciate hearing from you.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Price, is there something you'd like to say to us before we vote?
Well, I'd like to apologize to my community and also apologize to my family and all the other families like around here that I hurt. And if I do have a chance to make parole today, I would like to go to work release. I would also like to go in outpatient and just stay out of prison.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. I think we're ready to vote. Mrs. Wise?
Patrick, it's disappointing that you and your family said all the talents and gifts that you had when you got out in 2018, you couldn't stay out. And like you said, because I just took the classes, I was just trying to get out. Now, I hope that when you take the classes this time, you take the classes so that you can stay out. That should be your goal, to get out and stay out, because you're going to get out. There's an out date. But for me today, my vote is to deny. I do think you need more programs, and you need to take the program seriously. You got high needs, moderate risk, and law enforcement opposition. And like you said, you need long-term substance abuse treatment. That's my vote.
Mr. Roche?
Madam Chairman, Mr. Price, my vote is the same for the same reasons.
All right, Mr. Price, and I do agree. I'm glad that you and the warden had the opportunity to speak, and he's selected some programs that will benefit you. So that, as Mrs. Wise says, it's not about just getting out, it's about staying out. And that's what we want for you. And I know that's what your mom and your sister and the rest of your family wants for you. So I agree with my colleagues. My vote today is to deny. Recommend you take those programs that the warden has suggested, and when you complete those programs and you're eligible to reapply, you'll have a different outcome. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a blessed day.
Well, you're going to be surprised when I share with you what else he's in prison for. But then again, you might not be surprised. But I have to say, thank you for Richard for bringing this to my attention, because otherwise you would have never have guessed. But this man who, when Miss Wise said, you have a lot of crime against a person, I thought she was maybe going to bring it up. A police officer, a state trooper in 2001. Well, I don't know why she didn't bring up in 2018, 17 years after 2001, where he received 2 charges for sexually assaulting 2 different inmates in jail. He faces new charges. Investigators learned that Price attempted to coerce each inmate into having sexual intercourse with them using threats of violence against the inmate and their families. After each refused, he forcibly engaged in sexual intercourse with each in separate incidents. Following an investigation of both incidents, warrants were obtained for second-degree sexual assault for one inmate and first-degree assault and battery for the other. He was booked on additional charges. He was already being held on charges including battery and assault, which is what he's in for. But they don't bring it up. They don't bring it up. You know, of course, they make a statement because they are at risk of getting sued. So they make a statement, the police, you know, the jail. While inmate Price was multiple arrests in his criminal history, he does not have any charges, nor has he shown any behaviors that would have alarmed our staff that he should be considered a sexual predator, said the sheriff. We will continue to exhaust every measure to prevent this sort of behavior. And, you know, it's interesting. You hear this stuff happening. You hear about it on, you know, all different sorts, but we don't hear about it that much on Louisiana parole hearings. And I wonder if it's something that they want to just kind of sweep it under the rug, so to speak. And is there a reason that they didn't bring it up during this hearing? Is it possible that it's because I think maybe his child was watching? Maybe that's why. But at the same time, we've seen cases where this hasn't been brought up when someone has this record for doing it to a child, but they'll only bring up the robbery or something. So you just don't know. It's easier to believe that they didn't bring it up because it was maybe something in the way that it was filed, how the DA mentioned how he has multiple felonies, but they bundled it into one felony, and it could all be because they wanted to protect themselves. It could be a part of the lawsuit. They don't want it officially on his record, but who knows why? The bottom line is like 2 men who were in jail could have, you know, who knows why they were there. Maybe it could be any reason. Maybe they had a DUI and like they end up in jail and all of a sudden they have their life being completely destroyed because this man decides to do that. I mean, why is that not taken seriously? Why is it not on his record? Why does it seem that no one cares? These are things people need to care about, but they don't. It's the strangest thing. You'll bring up that he has a battery against a state trooper 22 years ago. A man who has a gun and can protect himself versus someone who is literally sexually assaulted in a jail cell where he's supposed to be and theoretically protected. That's not brought up. I mean, this is a dangerous man. The idea that but that's why we show this. That's why we do it. That's why we're here.
A filth offender, operation of a clandestine lab. You were sentenced on 5/26/2012. You were sentenced to 10 years hard labor with a parole date of 8/21/2014 and a good time of 5/27/2021 with a full term of 2/21/22. Today, panel I'll be the one asking you some questions today. And then each one of the panel members will be asking you some questions. Then we'll come back with our decision. This is my case here today. Mr. Pell, I see you lost 90 days of good time. Can you explain to the board what happened?
Now it's been a little road here. Or you want me to explain exactly the incidents that happened, because I don't want to lie or not tell the truth of what happened about losing.
Okay, here's what I want you to do. Tell me how you lost 90 days of good time, and when did you lose the 90 days of good time?
Okay, I can say that I lost some of the good time. I think I had a dirty urine. I think I had a dirty urine maybe once or twice. I really, to be honest with you, haven't been keeping up with the incidents. I actually got my parole packet this morning. I knew I was supposed to be coming up today for the parole board, but I just got my packet this morning to contact my people. Just got it just now. So, and you know, what it says for me to get ready for today and everything, and I don't have the paperwork on what dates I got wrote up. So for me to, let me see. It's been about,
maybe the staff there can enlighten us on. When was his last disciplinary write-up?
Sir, this is Corporal Jones. He has not had a write-up since he's been with us since February 3rd of 2020. He has not had any write-ups in this facility.
Okay, sir. When was your last write-up before that?
let me see. I want to say it was back in Caldwell.
When was it? 6 months ago, 8 months ago?
About probably 9 months to a year ago.
What was it for? Dirty urine?
I think it was for a dirty urine.
Okay, well, I see you've been locked down a pretty good while. When is your what are some of the programs you've taken?
I've taken Thinking for a Change, anger management, substance abuse, pre-release, re-entry, and I want you to look. I just don't want to say nothing wrong here today. I haven't kept a calendar or track of this storm I've been through. 10 years is a long time to face when doing time. And amongst my problems I've been working on myself and my family problems and my past. So I haven't kept a calendar on write-ups and stuff like that. I kept a calendar though on things that I've done that I needed to work on to be a better person.
You didn't keep up. You didn't keep up your write-ups because you didn't think they were very important, huh? When you was out there trying to use drugs in the facility, and you were sentenced on 5/26/2012 to a 10-year sentence, and you tell me that wasn't real important to you, the write-ups and stuff. You know, if you can't behave while you're incarcerated, how are you going to behave when you're out on the streets? How many write-ups have you had since you've been incarcerated? Total write-ups.
I think maybe a total of 4 in the last, and all this.
What are they 4 for? Was they all for drugs, contraband?
I know a few of them was for contraband.
And so you think the last few, how long did you say you've been locked up? How long have you been incarcerated on this charge?
Going on 8 years.
Okay, you've been incarcerated 8 years. You've taken programs to
so you won't be using drugs when you get back out. And during this time, you're using drugs while you're in the system. So evidently it's not working. When was the last time you took the program?
I think it was about three years ago. I went through all the programs. I did all my programs back to back in Caldwell.
Okay, so you've done all your program and then you got to where you're going and you got to charge for a contraband. So that's the thing you need to follow up on some of your programs if you're still getting stuff for using drugs while in an institution.
Oh, wait, excuse me. Are you saying that after I went through the programs that I had called a contraband charge for drugs? I mean, I don't
You
remember.
said nine.
I don't remember.
You said 9 months. You said 9 months ago you got a charge. You got a write-up. You've lost 90 days of good time.
9 months ago?
Well, you just said 9 months ago. You think it was 9 months ago you got a disciplinary write-up and you've lost some time. I want you to be honest with me.
Look, okay, well, can I be honest with you right now? Like,
well, I thought you'd be honest when you got there today, but go ahead and stay.
That's why I can't answer your question, because I'm trying to be honest. I haven't kept a record on my, matter of fact, how you can't, it's hard to, I don't know if I'm sure you have never been incarcerated in the system because you're above the system. But in the system, you lose all, I mean, you go to lockdown, you get shipped, they don't care where your personal, I came here with nothing, personal belongings gone. When I got here, my belongings, I came here with my clothes and everything, I never did get them, not even my toothbrush, my toothpaste. The stuff that we go through in here is also lessons to be learned. Because like if you steal,
let me tell you something. When you come in there, you didn't have no toothpaste. When you came there, and what they do, they give you toothpaste at every facility. Don't be starting about the toothpaste. I'm asking you this question. When was your last disciplinary write-up? And you told me a while ago, about around 9 months ago.
I don't remember saying that. I'm nervous. Can I explain to you what
I'm gonna let you explain, Miss Renata. At this time, Miss Renata will be asking some questions.
Good morning, Mr. Capel. So you say you just got your parole packet this morning. Who would you have expected to join you today if you'd have gotten them the information?
I'm gonna be honest with you. And
good.
On this journey, my family hasn't. I've been tough love. I've been son taken away from me, girlfriend taken away from me, mother taken away from me. They've done the minimum, which is not owed to me because I'm the one making the rotten mistakes. I'm the one making the same mistakes over and over, not growing up, acting as a child, and not doing the right, and not being a productive member of society. So this has been a learning.
The answer to my question is really nobody.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's all I needed to hear. So, and that's disappointing. So, okay, you tell us. We'll give you one more chance, and be brief. When was your last write-up? Where were you housed? You hadn't had any since you've been there since February. So, where were you housed when you got your last write-up?
Okay. Winsboro.
Winsboro?
Yes, ma'am.
So how long ago was that? About, I'm not asking specifically.
About, let's see, I've been here. Can you tell me how long I've been here?
You've been there since February.
Since February.
This is July.
Okay. I say a year. I don't wanna.
Okay, all right, all right. A year, 9 months to a year.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay, I don't have any other questions. Thank you, Mr. Capel.
Good morning, Mr. Capel. How are you?
All right, good morning.
I'm going to shed some light on the subject that we've been talking about all morning. Your last disciplinary write-up was on December 20th, 2018 for intoxication. And you lost 45 days good time. Your write-up before that was on September 29th, 2017 for number 1 for contraband. And I'm almost sure it was drugs or alcohol. And again, you lost 45 days good time. So basically, you've had trouble or issues with drugs and alcohol for the last 2 or 3 years. And according to my records, you have not received any substance abuse after you've had those write-ups for drugs or alcohol. And that's unacceptable. You've been incarcerated for 8 years, and you still have problems and issues with drugs and alcohol. Sir, you need to write DLC. You need to contact the persons at St. Tammany, and you need to get into a long-term substance abuse program. You have a problem, you don't recognize it, and it's time to do something about it. So to answer Mr. White's question, December of 2018 was your last disciplinary write-up, and it was with intoxication. And don't give us a static. You've been incarcerated for 8 years. You can't remember everything. You remember when you get it right up. And you lost 45 days good time. You remember that. You remember each and every time you got a disciplinary write-up. If you don't care. And if you don't care, you are a risk to public safety. Mr. Wise.
Yes, sir, you're correct, Mr. Roche. Is anything else you'd like to say to the board before we vote?
No, sir.
Okay, at this time, I'm gonna be voting. I'm gonna vote to deny your parole. I think you need to be working on some programs and try to get your life back straight. You've had some pretty bad things along the way, and you need to try to set back and get these behind you. But today, my vote is to deny, Ms. Ramasa.
Mr. Capel, I agree with Mr. Wise. My vote also is to deny. You have one criminal time date, a little a year away. So you have some time. You said you started working on you. So you need to continue that journey and then your relationships with your family so that you can be successful. Good luck to you.
Good luck to y'all too.
Mr. Capel, based on an extensive criminal history, a poor supervision record, a moderate Tiger score, opposition from law enforcement, and disciplinary issues with alcohol or drugs, and you've received no substance abuse treatment since that, my vote is to deny your request.
Okay. At this time, the board decision was today to deny your request. Hey, let me tell you something. First thing you need to do when we're calling out this thing is shut up, okay? Today, you've been denied all 3 panels of the board. Thank you.
Mr. Wise, can we please adjourn?
Yes, ma'am.
You know, I would probably feel bad for him if I didn't know what I already knew about him, which I'll share with you. This man, they don't bring it up in his crimes, but this man, you might not recognize him. This is what he was initially, before he got charged with making a lab. He was indicted for doing this to a 4-year-old girl before he had his face tattoos. They don't bring any of that up. Now, I loved watching, because I had this information, I loved watching him squirm. I have not enjoyed a Jim Wise interview until now, as ridiculous as it was. Now, the only thing worse than this, finding out here, he was indicted, right? They dropped the charge to simple molestation. The DA allowed him to plead, thank you, Richard, for providing this info, down to attempted indecent behavior with a juvenile. You can't make it up. Cockroach. You can't make it up. Now, maybe you could enjoy the way that he was treated as much as I did during this meeting, watching him squirm. It was funny listening to him try to describe to Jim Wise how the prison system works. Little does he know that Jim Wise was an investigator at Angola. He was the one who was a third-party investigator that would go into Angola and investigate whenever something happened. And before that, he was a supervisor of all the divisions for like the police force for like 18 years or something. I've never enjoyed Jim Wise interviews. I mean, but it was great to watch this little cockroach squirm. He goes there so nervous. He has this whole game plan in mind, and he completely tanks. I don't know if we've seen anyone tank as bad as he did there. And then when Jim Wise told him to shut up, that was just epic. Unprofessional, but epic. And maybe you earned that status when you... Oh, man. It was... and Miss Renata, it was... it's not every day you get hand-fed a treat like this. And like I said, if he only had drug convictions, I would have found this to be a very unfortunate hearing. But with knowing his track record, he deserves every second of it. Mr. O'Shea's right. Either he might not have known his write-up days, actually. I kind of believe that. He might not have known it. Because, this hearing took place in 2020, and he was being accused of having a write-up 9 months ago, but really it had been 2 years for that since that intoxication write-up, which you might argue, hey, 2 years is a pretty long time for an addict to not get written up for that. But I think more the second option, Mr. O'Shea said, he just doesn't care, or he just doesn't have that many brain cells left to realize what's going on. And then he starts being disrespectful to the board, which he's an idiot to do that. They take notes at the end of this hearing. They're going to put notes about that confrontation. And when he goes up for parole again, we'll cover it. We'll put it here, and they'll remember it as well. But you might not believe it if you didn't see it, and now you did. With that, I'll let you go.
Mr. Marabella, before we go on the record, we got a situation here I don't think I've ever had before, but Bobby Woodard has indicated he doesn't want to participate in the hearing. So I don't know how that's to be handled. I've never had that before. I don't know if we need to address that or
Mr. Woodard.
I don't want to talk on that. I don't want this bold thing, okay?
Okay, Mr. Woodard, I appreciate your position. Let me just explain to you, this is your parole hearing.
Look, I don't want that.
Quit.
Okay.
I
don't want it. I don't want it.
Okay.
All right. Go through the information in the record and go ahead and.
All right. This is the matter of Mr. Robert Woodard. Mr.
Bobby Woodard.
Bobby Woodard, I'm sorry. It's the matter of Bobby R. Woodard, DOC number 113329. Mr. Woodard's date of birth is January the 12th of 1959. He's classified as a third felony offender. He is not eligible for good time. He has a full term date of October the 5th of 2037. He is currently serving a 35-year sentence on the charge of manslaughter, having been sentenced on May 13th of 2003. Mr. Woodard, your case was assigned to me, so I'm going to enter a few other things into the record. Mr. Woodard.
Bob, let him complete the record. Then
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Mr. Woodard is 63 years old. He's serving 35 years for manslaughter. He's been in approximately 20 years. In October the 5th of 2002, he got in an argument with the victim, went inside, got a gun, and shot him 3 times. The defendant says the victim hit him and had a gun earlier, so he went inside, returned, and shot him. His cousin, who was a witness, said she was inside and saw the two of them arguing.
Let him finish.
Came inside, got a gun, went outside, and shot the victim once while he was leaving. Again, shot him when he fell to the ground, and then said, "The MF is dead now. Go call the police." His history of violence: in 1979, he had a misdemeanor for resisting. In 1984, he had an aggravated battery with a dangerous weapon. In 1985, he was arrested for first-degree murder and convicted of manslaughter. 2002, he was arrested for second-degree murder, and in 2002, he was convicted of manslaughter. The victim's family is opposed if he's released. They want mental health counseling and no contact whatsoever with the family. He does not appear to have done any programs while he's been in prison. His institutional report reflects that. He did get his GED. He's had 64 write-ups in the last one was in 2020 for contraband. And in the last few years, he has had several write-ups for fighting. Law enforcement opposes, as do the victims. His risk assessment, surprisingly, is low. Having put all of that in the record, Mr. Woodard, you had raised your hand. Is there something you wish to say?
Yeah, you had checked my clean bill of health out and my full pardon.
You received a pardon for your first offense?
Hold it. Let me talk now. I didn't want to go up for parole or anything like that. And I don't need to talk to you like that. Okay? Now, I'll see you.
Wait. Sit down.
All right.
Sit down until they dismiss it. Sit down.
I don't want to fool with him.
I think they were ready to vote.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Woodard, you give us little choice because your record isn't the greatest in the world. You have law enforcement opposition. Your criminal record is very violent.
I'm
my vote today is going to be to deny your parole. Yes,
sir. My vote is to deny because of victim opposition and your participation at the hearing.
Yes, Jackie.
My vote, likewise, is to deny.
All right. Your vote has been denied. Warden Goodwin, thank you so much for your help.
Yes, sir. I believe that's our last case too, Mr. Maribel.
Well, this is something that we have never seen
Happened
before, and something that we may never see again. But I am glad that we've seen it, because we have been raging for the close to 1,000 hearings that we have seen. There is something that comes up consistently for the worst offenders, for the offenders that harm children. Offenders that harm children, they get this risk assessment score that if you were watching this and you saw Mr. Marabella said, you have a low risk assessment score. And if there's, wake up, Louisiana. Maybe you could look at this. The man has killed 2 people in his life. At his own parole hearing, he says, I am a violent man. And your risk assessment scores put him as low. The same way they put serial child offenders as low. And we don't get it. We say, how is it possible? How is it possible? I don't care how many PhDs you have and how fancy your resume looks. Why are these risk assessment scores coming up as low? At what point are you going to rip it up, fire everyone involved in this dumb assessment process, and get something that works? But they won't. This has been going on for years, and it's not only Louisiana. We see it in other states. We see it over and over again. Someone can derail the life of their own biological child and have a low risk assessment score, meaning that the state believes that they are at a low risk to reoffend, even though the data that doesn't lie says that they are at the highest chance of reoffending. I'm harping on this because it's something that we point out over and over and over again in the over 1,000 hearings that we have done. Then you might want to bring up in this case, how is it that in 1985 you can be convicted of taking someone's life, taking another human being's life, get released only so that you can be convicted again of taking someone else's life in the year 2000? That means that in 1985 he was convicted but served at least less than 15 years, because in 2000 he did it again. And the prosecutor, because he didn't go to court, he took a plea deal, and a judge said, yeah, 30 years. What's the big deal? He's having a parole hearing at 20 years. He only has 10 more years left. He's going to be forced to go home in 10 years unless he commits a crime in prison to extend his sentence. But as you can see, he's not ready to go out. He doesn't want to go out, but he's forced to. Thank you, Richard. First, thank you, Claire, for bringing this to my attention, this hearing. And thank you, Richard, for pointing out the rules around this, is that offenders shall be automatically scheduled for parole hearing within 6 months of the offender's parole eligibility date. So it's in their laws. It's in that he's forced to go to parole hearing. And I never realized that. And I guess I never realized that because we've never had someone say they don't want their parole hearing. The scary thing to me, again, is that when he gets released in 10 years, because he's still a young man, whose life is he going to take to get locked back up again? We live in a broken system, and this is why we do this, so that we can bring to light the insanity of the system that we are in, with the emperor that wears no clothes, but everyone pretends that that the emperor is dressed in the finest gown. Low risk assessment score. It's nuts. But with that, I'll let you go.
All right, good morning. Sir, can you hear me all right? Mr. Francis?
Can you hear her okay?
Yeah, it's kind of loud, you know.
It's loud?
No, I mean, machine in my hand.
Can you turn it up a little bit?
Yeah. Okay.
Can you hear me better? Is that better? Okay, well, so introduce yourself. Tell us your name and your DOC number.
My name is Francis Sarone. My DOC number is 108190.
Yes, sir. Let me acknowledge the folks who are here with us today. We have the Parole Project is here in support, and we also have representing the victim, Mr. Josh Jambone. Both of who will be speaking at the appropriate time. We'll call on them to do so. Mr. Seregni, you're classified as a third felony offender, currently serving a 55-year sentence for attempted second-degree murder as a habitual offender, and then simple escape, aggravated escape. You have a parole eligibility, which was June 1st, 2013. And you have a adjusted your good time date is June 1st, 2036. Is all that correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Your case has been assigned to Mr. Roche. Would you answer his questions?
Good morning. Good morning.
Say good morning. Francis.
Mr. Francis. Good morning.
He's saying good morning.
Oh, good morning to y'all too. Good morning.
Mr. Francis, you'll be 81 years old on October 1st. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. And you're a third felony offender. Is that correct? You've been convicted of 3 felonies. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you became parole eligible in 2013. And I see some documentation where you had a parole hearing in 2012, 2013. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you had another parole hearing in September of 2020. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
And you were denied both times. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to give you the reasons why you were denied. Victim opposition. You have a history of violence. You have a history of escapes. Law enforcement opposition. And you didn't show any remorse for the crime that you committed. So tell me in your own words exactly why you've been incarcerated for almost 40 years, Mr. Francis. Tell me why.
Yeah, all right.
He's asking you why you've been incarcerated.
Oh, I committed a bad crime, attempted second-degree murder.
What did you do?
What did I do? The victim made threats to me. He tried to kill me with a knife. I had managed to get away from him. And he told a lot of people, especially one of my uncles.
Mr. Francis,
He said, he got away this time, the next time I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna use my 357 on him. So I couldn't let him come up there and try to kill me and hurt my family.
Mr. Francis, you didn't wait outside a restaurant, Jack's Restaurant in LaFourche Parish at closing time, and you killed Mr. Jack Jumbo and took his money?
Did you wait outside the restaurant for him to exit? And did you rob him and take his money?
No, sir, no. I had no intention of doing that. I just didn't want him to kill me, so I did what I had to do. Yeah.
So you saying that you did what you did to protect your family?
Yeah, yes, sir, he threatened to kill me. So I did what I had to do to protect myself.
Mr. Francis, if someone makes a threat against you, look like you should have gone to law enforcement and reported it.
He's asking you if someone made a threat to you, that he was suggesting that you would report it, or why didn't you report it?
Well, it wouldn't have done no good because the man had everybody in his hands. He had the sheriff department in his hands and the court system. He had district attorney. He had a lot of influence with the people. He was a businessman.
So you planned premeditatedly with another gentleman from Mississippi to rob and kill Mr. Jumbo.
He's asking if you premeditated to rob and kill Mr. Jambon.
No, I didn't want to do that.
You didn't plan it? You didn't create a elaborate scheme to murder Mr. Jumbo?
I did what I had to do, sir. I just want to protect myself. I didn't want him to come up there and kill me.
Okay, Mr. Francis, what programs have you taken since the last hearing?
What programs have you taken since the last hearing?
What's his name?
What programs have you taken since the last hearing?
I took up quite a few programs. I used to work for a carpenter shop for 19 years. I was a tool.
Mr. Francis, tell me the programs that you've taken, DOC approved, good time programs. I see the list that you gave Ms. LeBlanc, but I don't see any documentation of those programs. Can you give me a list of programs that he's completed in the last 39 years?
The only program that I see, CTRP programs that I see that he's completed was he just recently completed the 100 hours of pre-release.
And that's it.
That's all I'm showing. I don't know what he done.
That's all I saw in the report, except for the information that he gave to Mr. LeBlanc to transfer and give us the information. And there's a lot of things living in balance, and I didn't see any documentation.
No, sir. I don't have any of that.
Tell us what your transition plan is going to be, Mr. Francis, if you were released today.
What's going to be your transition plan if you were successful today?
Respect the law, be nice to people, and work and try to do some work on the side of some carpenter shop. I like to have my own. I got my own shop down there at the bayou. And I'm a certified carpenter. electrician, carpenter, and mechanic. I do all.
Mr. Francis, where will you live?
Where will you live?
Well, man,
Where would you live?
I would live with my sister. I got 3 sisters out there, 1 brother. I'd like to live with my sister at 141 West 2nd Street and the Rose, Louisiana.
Warden Barlow, any comments, observations, or remarks?
Yes, sir. I'm not sure, on the program side of things. I know he has, issues hearing. He struggles with that. And from what I see during his incarceration, he just worked as a carpenter for the facilities that he was housed at. But he hasn't had a write-up in, I think, since 2007. He's no trouble here.
Okay. Mr. Francis?
Yes, sir.
I need to inform you that you do have some very strong opposition to your release. The victim's family is adamantly opposed to your release, and law enforcement is also opposed. And as the warden said, your last disciplinary write-up was in 2007. Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Rochelle. Mr. Saragni,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
mentioned that Mr. Jambo, you felt threatened by him. Why was he mad at you?
Well, me and him, we've been long-term enemies. School. Every time we couldn't see eye to eye together. We had some bad blood together. Always had fights. Always pulled a knife on me and everything else. He cut me up and everything else. He tried to kill me. He wanted me dead.
So you knew him most of your life?
I can't.
Did you know him most of your life? Did you know Mr. Jambon most of your life?
Well, all my life. All my life I've been knowing him. He's not a good man.
Okay. Do you have any particular health issues that are concerning?
Do you have any particular health issues that are concerning or that you're concerned about?
No, I ain't. I'm a diabetic and I've got skin cancer. That's all I got.
Okay. I don't have any other questions, Ms. Wise. The record shows, Mr. Francis, that you have 6 children. Where are your children today?
That's what the two wives. I had 2 wives. I had 6 children. I think 5 girls and one boy.
What kind of contact do you have with them?
Well, we ain't got that much contact being her, With my children, they come see me, they come visit me and all that.
Okay.
They come by.
And the record shows that that you are married. Is that correct? Is that your correct marital status?
Yes, ma'am.
She asked if you're married.
Not no more. I got divorced. I got arrested.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Thank you, sir. That's all I had.
All right. Can we hear from the parole project, please?
Yes, good morning. Kerry Myers with Parole Project. We want to let this board know that we will support Mr. Saragni in his transition. He's served just over 40 years in prison. He is now almost 81 years old. His last write-up was more than 14 years ago. While he's been incarcerated, while his programming is not extensive, he does have an NCCER core certification that he completed in 2007. He has got commendations for being a volunteer during the floods. He's been a volunteer in the process of being a carpenter. He's also volunteered to build cabinets and furniture for Habitat for Humanity, the program that's there at Hunt, and he's done that for years. And in the process, he's also tutored other people, other inmates in carpentry and cabinetry while he's done that. So it's not just been idle. He has given back to his community. We're prepared to help him through his transition, make sure he gets connected to all his medical services, gets connected to any other services that he's entitled to. And we will work with his sister to make a smooth transition to his long-term residence. So we just ask this board, considering all those factors, to grant his parole today.
All right, thank you, thank you. We'll hear from the opposition, Mr. Josh Jambon.
Yes, good morning, thank you. My name is Josh Jambon. I am Jack Jambon's son. Mr. Serenier continues to show very little, if no remorse whatsoever. He's done nothing while he's been incarcerated to educate himself, and after 40 years being there, it seems like he would have did something to better himself. During the hearing, Mr. Serenier admitted that the only regret he had was that he didn't have a bigger gun or was in closer range. Also, when Mr. Serenier broke out of Angola for approximately 8 days some time ago, when he was apprehended, the first thing that he said when they asked Mr. Serenier where he was going back to kill Jack Jambon. My dad was a really good fella, helped a lot of people in the neighborhood, in this area. He was well known with the Indian tribe that Mr. Serenier belongs to south of Golden Meadow. And for him to say that Mr. Jambon, my dad, was gonna kill him with a knife, it's a fabrication. My dad told me personally that within a month before this incident took place, he couldn't understand why Francis did it, because he actually gave him a ride. Francis was walking on the side of the road, and he gave him a ride to Grand Isle for him to go to work. Yeah, they knew each other since they were very young. They did have trouble before, only because years before, when he was sent to prison, he had robbed my dad's restaurant back then, early in the morning with a group of other people from Alabama, and they went on down the road towards Houma, where they robbed another place, and there was a gentleman there cleaning the building, and they pistol whipped him, put him in the trunk, and drug him somewhere to die. He always insisted that my dad had something to do with him going to jail for that at that time, but it wasn't. There was nothing. My dad did not get anything back that was stolen from him or any money. He put himself in prison by beating that guy, pistol whipping, and the robberies that took place. I don't feel like Mr. Serenier should be released. My family is extremely nervous and scared about this. We have lost my dad in the past 2 years. Mr. Serenier, life has changed down here. All his area is no longer you're able to live. It's all covered, Francis, by water now, the last hurricane we had. So there's no property left for him to come to down in this area. I think it'd be an injustice. Also, I belong to a group of 16,000 plus people, crime fighters, headed by Mr. Irvin Magri, the past president of the parole board. And all of them will speak today or will have sent in letters against Mr. Serenier being released, that it would be a threat to society. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jambon. We appreciate your speaking with us this morning. So at this time, we'd like Mr. Serenier. Is there a statement you'd like to make to us before we vote?
Is there a statement you'd like to make to the board before they vote?
I would like us very much to be granted some release, so I could get back with my family and my loved ones. And we're just trying to go home.
All right, thank you, sir. I think we are prepared to vote. Mr. Roche?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mr. Serenier, based upon a lack of programs, a lack of responsibility for your actions, adamant opposition from the victim's family, adamant opposition from law enforcement. And Mr. Saturday, I'm gonna be very honest with you. I think you're still a risk to public safety with your attitude, with your insistence that you had to do something, and so you decided that you would kill Mr. John Ball. I think you're still a risk. My vote is to deny your request.
Mr. Shane, Mrs. Wise. Mr. Francis, I concur with my colleague. My vote is to deny as well. And you do need to take victim awareness. I believe they'll bring you a long ways. Best wishes to you.
Mr. Sarney, I do agree. My vote today is to deny. There's very, very strong opposition from law enforcement, from the victim's family we've heard, and from the community at large. You don't seem to have an understanding of your crime, even after all these years, and its impact on your family and the community. So my vote today is to deny. Your application for parole, sir, has been denied today. That's what it is. That's it. Warden, we're finished with our business at your facility. We're going to sign off at 11:06. Thank you for accommodating us.
Thank you.
Okay, let's unpack that. I mean, clearly this man is in denial. I mean, it's like this crazy, insatiable drive to go and finish the job to kill this man. And we'll go through documents. It's pretty wild. He's still insisting. He still believes in his heart that he was protecting his life, but there is evidence that we will review that he simply wasn't. It was a robbery. He was doing it to get paid. He escapes from Angola. And when they catch him, the first thing he tells them, he's going to finish the job. Can you even make that up? This guy is dangerous, and it's scary to think that he has a good time date in 2036. Now that's 13 years away from now. He's not that young, so you know, maybe by the time he gets out, he will be safe. But I would tell you, I would not feel safe. No way. That guy he's 80 years old. So yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be difficult for him to be a James Bond at 93. So maybe it's okay. But here, let's go over the documents. Thank you, Richard. And also thank you, Cajun Overcomer, who has her own YouTube channel, which you should check out. I'll put a link in the description. She's our Louisiana native who's making moves in Louisiana. She said, hey, I saw this. You got to do it, Mandu. So I said, let me check it out. Here we go. Let me share my screen. And go give her a sub. She actually had a big birthday yesterday, 4-0. So help her reach 1,000 subs by giving her a sub. And here it is. So he has some other interesting information as well, which I'll get into after this, which I thought to be totally wild. Okay, so at approximately 12:15 a.m. 1983, to think it's been that long, Jack Jambone was shot as he was leaving his business. The victim testified that he opened the door to his vehicle and he was shot in the neck and fell. The gunman then fired 8 more times with his .22 rifle. 5 shots hit the victim in his arm, shoulder, and underneath his arm, while 3 bullets missed him. The victim did not see who shot him and later passed out. Can you imagine the miracle of surviving that? And hey, it was a .22, but still, you need a miracle. Following leads received during the investigation, and Ted Weatherall was arrested by the sheriff's office and charged with attempting to kill him. Then Weatherall implicated the defendant in the shooting, so it was two men, and agreed to cooperate with authorities. He wore concealed electronic device. He approached the defendant on November 30th, 1983, and engaged in a conversation with him regarding the shooting. So he gets caught first. He agrees to wear the wire device. So they let him out to do that. And he spoke to him. Now, the exchange was taped by authorities and played to the jury at the defendant's trial. During the conversation, the defendant told him several times that he wanted to kill him for money. This was in the recording. And it indicated that he had been offered money to shoot him. Someone offered him money to shoot him? I guess so. He also expressed his surprise over the victim's survival, suggesting that he use a larger weapon, or had he been closer when he fired the first shot, he would have taken him. That's what he said on the recording. It's scary stuff, right? And then he actually escaped Angola and wanted to finish the job. At trial, his co-defendant testified that on the evening of the shooting, he and the defendant, along with their girlfriends, had been playing cards at his home. He and the defendant left the game, drove to Mr. Jambon's restaurant, and parked across the street. Weatherall stated that the defendant then took his .22 rifle out of the car, walked over to the restaurant, and hid in the bushes. After the defendant fired the second shot, Weatherall ran from the scene to his home. So his co-defendant was like, whoa, dude. He had second thoughts. Donna Weatherall testified that prior to the shooting, she overheard the defendant ask Ted if he wanted to help him get rid of Jack. The defendant's application for post-conviction relief. Okay, so then he states, this is part of his appeal. He goes through that he didn't have, that he had ineffective counsel. Now, here's something else that I found to be quite interesting. And thank you, Richard, again. He sued the prison, which you can only imagine is never a smart move. But what happened is that he had a parole hearing in 2012. I think he sued the warden. And in the parole hearing, what he claims, 2013. So he filed a criminal complaint against Jambon. Now, I don't know if that was his son he filed a complaint against or the man he tried to kill, because he showed up at the parole hearing and he alleged that at the parole hearing, Jambon claimed that he said that he was going to kill him. Okay? So at the parole hearing, the man who he's still insisting today was threatened to kill him, and that's why he killed him. His claims said that again at this parole hearing. So he filed a letter of criminal complaint against him. And basically what goes through this is it's 8 pages. I'll put the link in the description. I read it already. Is that he claims that the prison never sent out that letter. He tried to go through the motions of proving it was sent, but it wasn't sent. Or he claims it wasn't sent. And so then he sued, I think, the warden and the prison, and they just dismissed it. But I mean, just to go shows that it's just an obsession for him. It's an absolute obsession. And then there is another document in here, but it doesn't state what, but it's actually kind of recent, that shows that he was denied some kind of default judgment against him. And this dates as 2020, September 22nd, 2020. So he tried, It was some other type of suit, but it's not. I'll put the link in the description if you want to read it. I'm sorry that I'm not more helpful on that, but it's there are crazy people out there, and it's really sad. He's got all these kids and no one talks to him. He's got nothing, and it just seems that he has this crazy obsession with this one man. It's nuts, and I think this is again why he doesn't even seem to understand the basic premise of, even if it's true that he threatened at some point to stab him, like, it doesn't make a difference. You can't, like, come on, you can't go to the restaurant and shoot him when he leaves. And it's kind of like a movie. You almost could think of this as being a movie of how ridiculous it is. He gets locked up in Angola, then he actually escapes on a mission to finish the job. And I think this is just further, or I should say further, this is just, in this case, proof that certain people need to be locked up. And there are certain people who do deserve that label of that need to keep society safe. And in my opinion, this is one of them. I think that's pretty clear from the evidence and what we just saw. But thank you for being here for the past 2 hours. With that, I'll let you go.